The next thing we're going to talk about then is we're going to talk about how do you go about finding the length of a missing side. So we've got angles. Now we're going to find missing sides. So that means you're going to give it an angle in this case. And this one is used quite often. So let's go ahead and draw our first triangle. Oops, I got to try to get the color here is what I want to be. So let's go with this. So here's our triangle, nice and neat. There's our right angle. This time I'm going to tell you that this is 50 degrees. So now we know the measure of the angle. And let's say that this side is 14 and we want to find the value of x. So now we have to find the length of a missing side. And we're still going to use sine, cosine, and tangent to do this. So SOH, CAH, TOA. So katoa. Identify the sides that you're given, just like we have in the past. So that doesn't change. That's pretty much anytime you're doing these, that's what you're first going to do. So 50 is the angle that we're given, and we're going to label our sides accordingly. So this is opposite and this is hypotenuse. So sine uses opposite and hypotenuse. Now we've always put sine of theta. Well, we know what theta is now. It's 50 degrees. So we're going to put sine of 50. That's going to equal the length of the opposite side, 14, over the hypotenuse x. Now understand, now we have to solve this. And one thing you could do is you could change the sine of 50 into a decimal. You could hit just sine. We know the angle, so you're just going to hit sine 50, and you could change that to a decimal. It's 0.7660, blah, blah, blah. We could do that, but it's not what we're going to do. We're just going to go ahead and solve this, so to say, for x. So since I've got x on the bottom, I have to multiply both sides by x. So we get x times the sine of 50 is equal to 14. That's if I'm multiplying x by both sides, because I've got to get rid of that x kind of in that denominator piece of it. So I multiply both sides here by x. These x's cancel each other out. Now I'm going to divide this by the sine of 50. So then x is going to equal 14 divided by the sine of 50. And that's what you're going to punch right into your calculator. You're going to go 14 divided by, just hit sine of 50, close the parentheses and hit equals, and that is equal to 18.3, and that's the length of our side, is 18.3. So we're still going to use sine, cosine, tangent to do these. Now it just becomes solving just a little bit more. Right? Let's look at another example. So here's our right angle this time. This time I'm going to tell you that this one is 40 degrees. This is x, and this is 13. Okay, so let's give you a second to kind of process it here. Think about which one we're going to use. Okay, so we'll go ahead and label the sides. There's my angle. This is the opposite. This is the hypotenuse. That is not the hypotenuse. That is the adjacent. Which one uses opposite and adjacent? Tangent. So tangent, we know the measure of the angle now is 40. So tangent of 40 equals the length of the opposite x over the adjacent 13. Right, so we're going to solve for x. So since I've got that x value in the denominator, I've got 13 in the denominator, I'm going to go ahead and multiply both sides by 13. That gives me 13 times the tangent of 40 equals, those 13s cancel out, so x, so I can just punch that right in my calculator. So 13 tangent 40, close the parentheses, and you get 10.9 is equal to your x value. Let's try another one. Say that that's 38 degrees. This is x, and this is 10. Okay. Press pause on the video, see if you can get it. When you think you've got it, unpause, and I'll go through it. So there's the measure of the angle. Label my sides. 10 is the hypotenuse. X is the adjacent. That's cosine. So we're going cosine of the measure of the angle again, which I know is 38 degrees, equals the length of the adjacent x over the hypotenuse 10. Okay. So the number's on bottom, so kind of when the number's in the denominator and the variable's on top, I always just say multiply. So we're going to go 10 times the cosine of 38. That's going to equal my x value. And you get 7.9 value x. Okay. Let's go to the next one. This will be the last one that I have you do. Make this one nice and big. Say that this is 74 degrees. This time we want to find the hypotenuse, and we're given that that is 14. Label my sides. That's the hypotenuse. I think I said that. That's adjacent, so it's cosine. So cosine of 74 is equal to the length of the adjacent over the hypotenuse. Now here's kind of my rule. If the number's on top, you're going to take that number divided by the cosine of 45, because you have to multiply both sides by x. So this would be x times the cosine of 74 equals 14. Divide by the cosine of 74. So 14 divided by the cosine of 74 is 50.8 is the value of x. And that's how you find missing sides of a triangle.